Hi, I'm Annie with ByAnnie.com, and I'm excited to tell you about a brand new product, ByAnnie's Stiletto and Pressing Tool. We've spent over 2 years developing this precision placement and pressing tool, and I think that the wait was well worth the time. Let me tell you about some of the things that we encountered as we tried to design this tool. First of all, we started the process by talking to a manufacturer and telling them what we wanted. We wanted a tool that had a sharp point but was rough so it would really hold the fabric. We wanted it to be comfortable to hold in your hands, so we wanted some turnings so that it fit nicely, and we wanted to add a pressing tool on the other end. As we worked, we went through lots of iterations, and I thought it might be fun to show you some of the process that we went through. This is one of the very first samples that we got from our manufacturer, and though it was a good start, we felt there was some room for improvement. First of all, it had kind of a clunky, chunky feel. And in the area where your fingers would rest, it was a little bit thick, and so it made it hard to hold. We also felt the tip was a bit short, and we thought we would like to have that longer so that it was easier to use and hold things. On the end where the pressing tool was, it didn't seem to have quite the right angle, so it was hard to put the pressure where we needed it because it felt like we were having to hold it too upright. One thing that was especially a problem was that when we set it down, it would roll right off of our table, so it seemed like we spent a lot of time crawling around on the floor trying to find it. And this is the next version that we got. We loved the streamlined, slim style of this. It felt good in our hands. The turnings were in just the right places so our fingers rested nicely. We liked the tip longer. We loved that. The angle was just right on the pressing tool, so we had good pressure when we tried to press seams. But the problem we had with this tool is that sometimes when we sew, we hold it at a right angle to our needle as we're sewing, and the end of it would run into the side of our machine. So it was back to the drawing board yet again. This version, which came next, almost had it all fixed. The shape was much better, the length was good, the tip was good. They added some flatness on the sides so when we set it on the table, it doesn't roll off, it stays in place. And so now we started thinking about what type of finish we wanted on the tool. We like to do things with our brand, so we thought, how about a ByAnnie blue? But one thing that we found is when we pressed seams, the paint didn't last as well on those tips. We wanted this to be a long-lasting tool, so it was back to the drawing board once again. This is the next iteration that we got, and on this one we painted it part way and left the end unpainted. Everything else basically stayed the same, and we really loved that tool. In the end, we decided we liked the more neutral look of a varnished wood finish. We added the ByAnnie logo on the side, and we're just really pleased with how this tool turned out. Next, let me tell you about some of the features of ByAnnie's Stiletto and Pressing Tool. First and foremost, the tool has a strong point made of high-quality German steel, which is inset securely into the handle. The best part is that the point has been sand ground to roughen it. This roughness sets it apart from any other stiletto on the market and ensures that the tip won't slide off your fabric, making it perfect for holding pieces in place as you sew. It also helps you to push or pull pieces into position easily. The quality European beechwood handle has been shaped in just the right places, so it's very comfortable to hold. It fits your hand just perfectly. It's also very light in weight, so you hardly notice that you're holding it. Here's a feature you're sure to love. We flattened the edges on each side to prevent rolling. You won't have to crawl around on the floor under your machine looking for your tool. It will be right on the table where you left it. On the end opposite the stiletto point is a perfectly angled pressing tool. It's just right for quickly pressing seams right at your machine. No trips across the room to the ironing board, or to press a seam on a fabric that cannot be safely ironed. Because the stiletto's tip is so sharp, we covered it with a small piece of tubing. Be sure to hang on to this tubing. It will protect the point and your fingers when you store the tool. Here are a couple of tips to make removal of the tubing easier. I like to put my fingernail right at the bottom of the tubing and use it to push as I gently twist the tubing. When I'm ready to put the tubing back on, I can slide it right back into place. So, fingernail at the bottom, gently twist, and turn to pull it off. Many of my projects are made with fabric that's quilted to Soft and Stable. So I'll have a main fabric, an inner core of Soft and Stable, and a lining fabric on the other side. And I love to send fabric off to a long armor and let them do the quilting for me, so that when I get it back, I've got a pre-quilted piece of fabric ready to go to cut all my pieces out. This is a piece that I've cut from Moda's new line, Coral Queen of the Seas, and I'm going to make a stash and dash with it. One thing that I've discovered when working with Soft and Stable and quilted fabric is that a lot of quilting designs aren't going all the way to the edges. So if you look on some of these pieces, you're going to see that there's areas here where the quilting doesn't hold the fabric down completely. So I've developed a technique to what I call seal the edges, and basically I just go around my entire piece and stitch everything down stitching an 1/8 inch from the edge. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of that, and this is another time when I love using the stiletto. For one thing, sometimes it's hard to get my thread out of the way and make sure the fabric's down, so I can use the tip of the stiletto to get everything lined up under there. And then I'm going to just stitch an 1/8 inch from the edge here. You can see how the fabric lifts up a little bit as I go. By using the point of the stiletto right in front of the needle, I'm able to keep the fabric down so it's not lifting up and getting crooked. And I get a very accurate stitch all the way along that edge. These are all places where it would be impossible to put my finger. I just can't get my finger in there to hold that. But the tip of the stiletto goes in there just perfectly, and because it's got such nice roughness to it, it doesn't slide off. It holds it in place really beautifully. You'll see when I get to the edge here, it's really nice as I go around this corner to be able to hold that down flat all the way until the needle gets there and I'm ready to go. So I'll just stitch all the way around this piece, and then I'm ready to continue with my project. Please be sure to check out our other videos to see the ByAnnie Stiletto and Pressing Tool in action. You'll love seeing how it makes bindings, pressing seams, piecing, and all kinds of things so much easier.